They're often described as social dropouts, rejects, or even good for nothing. But for communitarian Mervin Jarman, these are prime candidates for his award-winning multimedia center in Palmer's Cross, Clarendon. There is much to do here. This is where people can give and earn while they learn.
The primary target group, and I've always said this, is what I refer to now as the hardest to reach. It's what we call the bad boys, the one that want to have no value, you know, the one that were just fit for dumping. And that probably is because that's what I was characterized as. You know, I went to school across the road, and I remember being told, you're not going to amount to anything, you know, you're going to be a ganja smoking thief on the sidewalk just like the rest of them. You know, and of course I left school, and for a good period of my growing up after that, I was exactly like that, because I guess people started to iterate that, and everyone is like, you're a bad boy, you're a bad boy, you're a bad boy. So you become a bad boy.
Mervin is the visionary behind the Mustard Yellow Container Project in Clarendon that reaches out to the less fortunate, giving them the opportunity to discover their creative potential and become productive individuals in their community.
It's all started with my travel from here to the UK. Went to London, started to learn about computers, and realizing how transformative that could be to people like myself, because I'm in the street, you know. I came out of the streets about Palmer's Cross and Spanish Town. And really it was just looking at what it had to offer and reflecting on what was here in Palmer's Cross. You know, there was nothing on offer here, and I thought this would be a good thing to take back to the community.
There are people here who have seen a bigger vision of themselves and of the commitment you can have to your community, of what it is to be a social being.
Of course, I had people who kept saying, you know, why not start a football club or, you know, some other club? And I'm like, you know, we need for this something more productive, something to develop the youths in the community to another level, you know, something that they can actually start to earn an income from.
The London experience was an enlightening and inspiring one.
After being in London for a while, I thought I needed to come back to Jamaica, because a lot of the things, a lot of the aspirations weren't working out the way I thought it would have. A friend of mine suggested I went to college, and I took her up on the offer. I went to college, I studied film and video production, and then I thought I wanted to do some animation. So I sought out a computer animation course. When I went on the program, they said they were doing multimedia, which covered film and video and animation and a whole other set of genres that I found extremely interesting. You know, so I studied that, left the institution, and immediately got a job with Let's Education, where I did their first science CD-ROM.
Mervin's successful art career in multimedia production sent him hopping across the globe. He got the opportunity to share the digital art, music, and video production experience with others. Several organizations and individuals have lent their support to the Palmer's Cross Multimedia Center, including UNESCO, Heart Trust National Training Agency, and Cable and Wireless Jamaica Foundation, who provided internet access.
In 2004, UNESCO actually commissioned an evaluation of the process, the first evaluation of what the container does, its impact and benefit in the community, and I guess that was a successful initiative in itself.
Volunteers from Australia and Canada also lent valuable support to the operation of the centre.
We're doing a lot of just looking at computer art, so looking at digital imaging, which is working with Photoshop and programs like that, video editing, stop motion animation, and anything that the participants really want to do. We're looking in Photoshop and taking a photograph, of which this here is an example of part of that photograph. Then by layering it up with various other images, you can distort the way it looks. So it goes from a photograph to that kind of very red look. Whereas without the photograph, it's actually grey. So you're playing with the transparencies between the two to kind of make a almost composite sketch of a person's face that then is in looking at all the different ways you can use Photoshop. So for example, we'll start with, switch some of these off. This way. So if we go to that layer, that's the eyeball, we're looking at using some of the filters on top of it, and as you can see, that changes the eyeball from being photographic into a very much cutout and pencil kind of art. But as you can go through, you can alter that kind of effect until you find one that you're actually liking, which I usually will go with that one. Press OK, and as you can see, that now changes the way the eye looks.
The prototype Multimedia Centre in Palmer's Cross, Clarendon, has approximately 300 registered members, many of whom received training to the HEART NTA certification level. The centre can accommodate only 12 individuals at any one time, so Mervin allows persons to use the computers on a 2-hour rotation schedule, except when no one is in line waiting to use the equipment.
We prefer to take people from ground zero because then there's no pretense of knowing and feeling embarrassed if you don't know, kind of thing. Of course, if you're an advanced user, we'll still work with you. We do not segregate or create any tiers or anything, but we'll take people from ground zero and bring them right up to whatever speed they are able to go to. And if I don't know it, I have a whole bunch of colleagues who are only an email away, 2 taps on a button away from getting that information across.
Training in animation and website development will soon become part of the offerings. No doubt those who will benefit will follow in the wonderful tradition of assisting whenever they can.
In the earlier stage, I used to do a lot of the teaching. Nowadays, I have persons who will come and, people who I have trained up are now in the position to train up others. And that cycle continues also because we have a lot of persons who have now moved on into other areas. We've got persons who have gone to UTech, has graduated and come back and help fix machines and help to teach classes also.
My thing is to set up business for myself, which I'm actually in the process of doing. I'm a freelancer, but then I still find the time to come back here. One, to volunteer my service so I can help others. And I find that it's a two-way street. When I give, I learn, and that's my peer for me.
We learned how to use the Reason sound factor software, which encompasses different sound effects, different loops, and mix them together to make some cool rhythms. I personally never knew it was so easy to just build rhythms and hear them on the radio all the while. And he showed us that it was pretty easy and pretty straight up just to have a computer, have the software and build a rhythm just like that.
For me, it has been a great experience knowing the group from Clarendon, especially Mervin. He is a close friend of mine, and he teach me a lot about the company, teach me a lot. And when I leave high school, I didn't really love the computer, but being a part of this project has helped me a lot to grasp more and want to learn more about the computer.
Mervin wants the experience to be mobile, to move it to other inner-city streets across the island and allow people to interact and engage. And that's where a sub-project, the Wheelabin iStreet Lab, comes into the picture.
The basic function of that really is to take something like what's in the container, stick it into a smaller container that is more portable. Take that on the street corner, so you can see us on Stark Streets in Maypen, you can see us downtown Kingston, on Duke Street corner, Orange Street, flipping up the lid and busting out some computers for people in the street to start to appreciate what the technology can actually do in their everyday lives. So this is the iStreet Lab. This is what the actual thing will look like when we complete it. We'll have an iMac monitor inside the screen with keyboard operating from just off the front. So you actually stand in front of it to operate it. The monitor will monitor 5 laptops that we'll hand out to people on the corner to do their whatever the workshop project is about. And that can vary from music production to graphics design, web design, you name it.
Mervin wants the community to take ownership of the centre after it becomes fully developed and actually run the project so it becomes sustainable. Interestingly, other communities have begun to use the Palmer's Cross Media Center as a model to establish their own. To get more information, go online at www.containerproject.net.